Okay, this is kindness part two, and we have Jason and we have Arlen. So I'm gonna ask one of the questions. Jason, so you're the eldest of the hosts there. So what is your wisdom of you as a kind person you are? You are a very kind person to me with your bubbly personality. Yeah, it's just it seems the more sticks in your thing of you. You seem
You
polite
just
and
made
all
my
that.
day.
You can see hear about your wisdom there.
My wisdom. Oh wow, you jumped right to it. I just want to say,
You have experience.
also,
You're older than me. You got
good
experience.
morning, Byron, and good evening, Arlen. I'm glad you think I'm a kind person. I was just thinking, what a kind person you are, Byron.
Yeah.
I'll answer your question as a reflection. I've been recently going through a hard time, and I would sound like a teenager, like my online friends are nice to me, but it's true. Um, Arlen has pretty consistent internet habits. I know when to expect him, but you just kind of pop up here and there, and like I posted my sad boy video, and then I went about my day, and then I'm in bed and I see I have comments, and Byron's like, Jason, you're lovable like Jim Carrey. And then there's like 3 pages of Sonic the Hedgehog facts. And I'm like, damn, Byron's just a kindness factory. Uh, but my wisdom about kindness, well, that's a great question. Uh, I would just say, if somebody, I'm not speaking to anyone in particular, but if you are you kind or are you polite? I was
Hmm.
thinking about this because I had that traffic post that went viral. It's only happened to me 4 times, and it's kind of annoying. Like suddenly you have 1,000 likes and 500 reshares. It's so many notifications. It's hard to see the notifications from your actual friends. But I made that post about bad drivers, and it really resonated with people. And about 80% of the people said, "Yeah, I have that same experience." And then there were people who were arguing back, "Are you clogging up the passing lane?" And it got me thinking. A lot of those bad drivers probably step out of their cars and believe themselves to be kind, but time is a person's most precious resource, and unfortunately, money makes the world go round. So, do you think you're kind because you're polite and you don't say rude things to people? Or are you kind because you're flexible with your resources? Like, yeah, you don't have to give money to every GoFundMe you see. Fine, keep your money. But with your time, are you cutting people off? Are you leaving your grocery cart for someone else to take in? Are you kind with your time? Because that's what matters more than just politeness. I don't know.
Hmm.
That's my wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a wisdom's importance. Yeah. 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 Since me and Arlen are the youths there, and Arlen's still a youth there. Well, Arlen, I mean, how was your wisdom? I mean, you're about to be nearly middle aged now. If you're
oh
kind,
man, you don't need to rub it in.
look, to me, I respect people ages. I just see aging as part of my life. As for me, as I get older, I mean, I would still keep my gray and white hair. Even I got it early, I would still keep that.
Yeah, I think in white strands now. It's just like I wake up and there's a white strand. Like, what the heck?
You have white hair, like a few of them, a few hair
A few
strands.
of them, yeah, a few of
I
them.
mean, Jason
Maybe
obviously got gray hair. I don't know if he has white
maybe
hair.
it can't
Well,
can't go
I
through
dyed I
the
dyed it out.
camera.
You can tell from my beard. Like it's all like
Yeah,
this would
Yeah.
normally be mostly white, but it's
yeah.
it's dyed it's dyed dark brown right now.
Well, I guess
Look,
on the positive note, I'll take white
well,
hair
look.
over
I don't have any gray and white hair. I'm
tall
still young
hair.
to have that. If I got a young, let's say late 20s, I'll still keep my gray and white hair. Okay, Arlen. So let me hear about your youth so far. You're almost middle age now. You're 38 years old. You're gonna enter 40 soon. And you're gonna hear your wisdom so far for
My
youths.
wisdom.
Yeah,
Uh,
kindness.
I wouldn't say I'm wise at all. It's just I would say more that I read a lot. I pay attention a lot to politics and stuff in general life in my surroundings. I read a lot, so I know a lot of people don't read, but I myself read a lot. That's why I feel like I'm like learning a lot more about everything. And through through reading and stuff like that, and encounters with other people, it's gotten me to reflect upon myself and really like dig deeper into what kindness actually means. Because kindness itself, like Jason said, anyone can be polite, but it could be an act. Like someone could just act very kind, like on the outside, but deep inside they're not. They're actually very selfish. That kind of people exist too. So, so
Wow.
yeah. So I believe we just have to learn. If we keep learning more and more, naturally we will become more kind because we'll realize all of these injustices, and there's no way any human could look past that unless you're a monster.
Well, I did mention this previously, like the previous episode. There's people, how they, interact. They act kind, whether they're a good person or a bad person, whatever. Like how bad, whether they're like an evil person, whatever. It's just not
Right.
some Norman Bates stuff from the Psycho franchise.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It,
Yeah.
was- it was, it was just more disguisedly evil, but if you interact, it was a very polite. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I
Yeah.
asked about wisdom is because, look, I'm the youngest. I want to know about your experience between you, Jason, and Arlen. I think this is an important thing. I asked me as the host there, asking questions.
Mm, some wisdom, I would say, like, let me think. There's okay, like this there's some rich people over around here that all of the rich people here are very, very, very polite because it's the culture. So if they're not polite, they'll be frowned upon, so they don't do that. But on the other hand, for example, like our national health insurance, we have a like in their mind, they are a little bit selfish on this because even though they're they support our national health insurance, but they actually want to overutilize it. Like normal people just go in and we don't abuse the system as much. We just go in and get a checkup, and see what's going on. And if there's a problem, then we get treated. But a lot of the rich people actually they want to like get a checkup like every single week. It's like so annoying. It's it's almost like they feel like, oh, I'm rich, so I have to use the system more. It's like, what the hell? So that would be my example of like one of the examples of very polite, but actually kind of evil inside if you think about it.
Okay, since so far I've talked about wisdom, I miss. Okay, I want to hear from, see, Jason and Arlen. Since I want to start with a topic, are there anyone or anything was inspire you of being nice, polite, and kindness? Any inspiration like happens to reality or media of pop culture, whatever? Anything? So I'll start with you, Jason. Like, what inspires you to be that kindness?
I mean, I'll be a little cliched and say definitely some teachers. I mean, my parents too. In a lot of ways, my parents are definitely boomers. But they're all, yeah, no, we don't need to talk about that, but they are very kind. Um, I mean, I remember one of the first posts I made on Bluesky was I was waiting on my dad to be ready for a dog walk, and he kept delaying and delaying. I'm like, what is going on? And he said, well, the neighbor's yard exploded, and their drip is spraying up like a geyser, and I'm trying to help them out. I'm like, what, the MAGA neighbors with the Trump sign? I'm like, fuck them. He's like,
Yeah.
no, Jason, they're disabled, and we have to help. And my it's weird. My parents are so old now that their friends are starting to go into assisted living and stuff like that. And even though my parents are the same age, they're still functional. So they're like they become the go-to in the neighborhood. But rewind that back to when everybody was healthy. My parents were still very, very kind. But teachers,
Mm.
And I struggled, man. I was bullied relentlessly K through 12. Uh, and it was back in the day when you were kind of on your own for bullying. Like, honestly, it's easy to make fun of those anti-bullying campaigns, but they've kind of worked because when I was a teacher myself in some rough South Side neighborhoods, like we would still have trans kids and even just like kids who were into some really nerdy hobby and they projected it about themselves where you had to notice. And in my day, that would all be a target for bullying, but and it really wasn't nowadays. So it's nice that in a way kids are kinder to each other and I know the perplexing thought because there's the cyberbullying aspect and stuff, but just my boots on the ground as a teacher experience, kids have been a little kinder. But as far as my inspirations for kindness, I didn't really have a nice K through 12 experience, and then I got to community college. I met some wonderful teachers who would show me all the kindness in the world. And then when I got to university and bigger classes, it wasn't so much the case. But I remember this one history teacher. I took his Western civilization class because I had to. He was just so passionate about history. I ended up taking his history of the Middle East class just because I wanted more of him. I'd see him in the parking lot getting out of his van, and he'd have a big box with all his pieces of his personal collection poking out. Like, oh, he's bringing a Roman helmet and some knives to class. Today's going to be lit. And I'd be too shy in my normal life, but I'd get to talking to him, and he'd make all kinds of time for me, and suddenly realize we've been talking for like an hour after he could have been gone. So yeah, some teachers showed me kindness, and it gets back to are you kind with your time? Like it's easy to be polite, but are you kind with your time? And I'm reticent to say are you kind with your money, but there's that too. But I'll give you one last example, Byron. Kind of like my traffic post. Where I live, there's a leash ordinance. If you go to the park or any public space with your dog, it has to be on your leash. It has to be on a leash. It has to be under your control. Nobody does that. And my dad, he one of his main joys in life is walking his dogs, right? They had the two dachshunds, one passed away, but he still walks the other one. And he likes walking them and they're on the leash and they're happy and they're doing their thing. And inevitably, loose dogs run up. And my dad, he's in good shape, but he's still got to like wobble to the ground and try to pick up the dogs because you don't know if the dog coming is friendly, mean, and you don't know if it's friendly, but it's got an illness because parvo transfers nose to nose. Like there's reasons to keep your dog on the leash that are good. And inevitably, the people are like, oh, my dog's friendly. And they come over and they try to chit chat and they want their dogs just to be running around the park because it's convenient for them. And it's the best way to get the dog some exercise so it'll be obedient for them at home. But it's the fucking law to keep them on the leash. The kind thing to do would be follow the law so everybody can enjoy the park. And if you ask these people, are you kind? I'm sure they'd say yes. And I'm sure they'd say that's a stupid law. It's like, okay, well, you don't like the law. You have options. You can attend the town council meetings. You can try to get the ordinances changed. But if you go to the park and you ignore the multiple signs that say there's a leash law, well, are you really kind? No, you're not. So, my inspiration for kindness, I hate to say it, we made fun of my dad. He's a real rule follower, like
Yeah,
truly.
like
But
a very lawful person.
no, he is. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sort of thought it's gonna be like the parents would meet the parents. You know the reference. Oh, Jason.
I mean, I've seen the movie. I mean, he's not like a militant. He's just like a rule follower. And many people aren't. But when we're looking through the lens of kindness, order kind of breaks down when people start stepping out. You know, my
Wow.
my dog is better behaved, so I don't need to follow the leash law. That's not
I
kind,
mean,
but I'm sure that person thinks they're kind.
you
And
haven't
traffic. Well, I have to speed. I'm picturing a soccer mom, but I've got one kid in middle school that gets out at 3 o'clock over here, and I got another kid in high school that gets out at 3:30 over here. Of course, I have to speed. Well, no, you don't. But kindness is acknowledging that you live in a society and society doesn't revolve around you. So my inspiration are people who have kind of internalized that and act accordingly.
I mean, yeah, Jason. Yeah. You haven't, what, you gonna post again about your dash shoe? You say his legs are injured, right? Your dash shoe, your pet dash shoe. Looks adorable.
Oh, no, well, no, nobody's it. Well, they had two dachshunds. So the thing about my mom grew up with dachshunds. So every pet we've ever had, well, I had
That's how
two
you pronounce
ferrets, but
dachshunds?
dachshund. It's
Oh,
German
dox.
word.
Yeah, I know it's German. Yeah, it's German. Yeah.
Dachshund, yeah, dachshund.
Look, I come from a look. My parents, my parents' native language is not English. They understand English partially. I had to like increase my intelligence, so my knowledge to speak better English, on pronunciations, and how do you speak better in sentences. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're doing awesome. No, it's
Nonsense.
a weird. No, it's like people say wiener dogs.
Yeah, I know they call that too. So,
uh,
once
no,
again, about
they like my dad. We had an English Mastiff once. My dad really wanted big dogs, but no, one of them's alive and healthy. But dachshunds are a lot of those purebred dogs are riddled with different problems. Like Dalmatians have a specific set of problems. Some dogs what like the Frenchies, they can't even be born naturally anymore. We just to make purebred dogs, we've and it's another thing about kindness, like the things we do, the way we've brutalized dogs, like they typically the mixes are more healthy because they have a genetic medley and they can nature can select for the best traits, but the purebred dogs are usually riddled with problems. And my folks lost one of their dachshunds because of a had like a stomach disease. It's incumbent to the breed, and they tried to manage it with a special diet and going to the doctor and amazing health care, but it just kind of caught up. But I don't
yeah.
know.
I hope you still continue posting about your pet dachshund. It looks adorable.
You brought that okay? Yeah, my dad's not that happy with me right now quitting my job, so I probably won't be on many dog walks. But no, whenever I quit a job, my dad like ruefully signs me up for health insurance and pays that up. I'm like, stop doing that. I don't use health
Wow.
insurance. But I'll try to procure more dachshund pictures. I promise.
Yeah. Well, videos or whatever. Yeah, including that. I mean, that says a lawful person. I mean, I'm not a lawful person. I mean, I will break whenever is a dumbass law. I mean, I would do it right away, immediately. I mean, there's times it can be rebellious. It's really a dumbass law. I don't mean like for like the whatever the nation or state law, whatever, something like that. It's just something like the house rules, something like that. School rules from that, something like that, especially like in house rules. And what I was gonna say? Oh yeah, Jason. Well, as you know, I am. I mean, you all know me as a nerd, whatever, or geek, something like that. I mean, Jason, do you consider yourself a nerd or a geek, whatever?
I do. I
Oh.
do. That's I I think I talk too much. Let's just find out how Arlen sees himself. But no, I consider myself a nerd. But there's nerd has kind of been co-opted by social culture as a good thing. So like
But to this
now,
day,
like nerd as a bad thing has slid into like in my day, you couldn't go to school and talk about anime without getting your ass kicked. I'm being a
Really?
little hyperbolic,
well, to this day,
but
anime in the West is getting popular to this day. Not like back in those days. It was like in the 21st century. I mean, because before that, it was popular like non-mainstream viewers in the West. But later in the 21st century, it was popular with mainstream viewers in the West, the general public.
yeah.
It's how times what back then was. And what else gonna say? I stop you there. You continue. I gotta think what I was gonna say. I mean, yeah, just feels like difference of nerds and geeks. I mean, like similar. Nerds is like the one are more the intellectual things, like the more academics, and the geeks are like the more pop culture things. Yeah, it was to get you to have a better understanding there. Yeah, all that. Okay, continue, Jason.
No, that's all I got. Let's hear from Arlen.
Okay, I mean Arlen. Jason, Arlen, are there any inspiration of you of this of kindness? Like it was.
Uh, yes, there are a few people in my life. Some are far away and some are close by that inspire me to be more kind in general. It starts with my parents. Like when I was little, and they take me out and like walk in the park or something. If they even see like a dying bird or something, they'll show me that you have to actually do your best to take care of that kind of stuff. So we would actually take them in and try to like make it feel as less pain as possible to before it dies off or something. So that kind of example really helped me grow into a person that's more kind, because without that kind of experience, I don't, or like teaching, I don't know what I will be now, like right now. And same thing with my sister. She learned like that kind of stuff, that you have to be kind to even like the smallest animals because they're weaker than you. So that's why I kind of grew up having this thought of an idea of you have to take care of everyone despite if they're powerful or like weak. You can't just like step down the weak just because you can. And another person that's inspired me is someone I don't actually know that well personally. Um, but I've been following him forever, and it's well, forever as in 10 years ago. It would be Bernie Sanders. I'm not trying to make this political, but when I heard that man speak, it resonated with me. And I think that's the route. His vision, I think, is how the US should, like, what the US should follow, would be my opinion. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
Yeah, okay. There's one thing I forgot to mention. This is relevant to that, but it's more relevant to Jason. Yeah, well, the issues of nerds. It looks like that. Well, it looks like people say, oh, Harold Ramis is one to make nerds pop, one who made nerds popular. You may know as Egon from Ghostbusters, but he's also more of a movie director. I mean, he also appears as an actor in Strides. I believe he directed that. He also directed Caddyshack and National Lampoon's Vacation. Yeah, Harold Ramis. Yeah. And there's like that was the next question I'm going to say. This question is going to be, well, this is something about like a public figure kind of thing, or like a historical figure, entertainment figure. It's about, well, legacy. Well, the guy think about that if, well, just in case if, well, maybe you die sooner or whatever, like how people will remember you when you die, about your legacy. What would people want to know best of you? I mean, there's like kind of those kind. I mean, there's people, good people there, and also there's people just well sanitize or whitewash and as someone who's just a horrible person. I mean, I wouldn't, look, yeah, yes. I mean, it's like that's one, just like a couple of person could think of. It's like politically related. Let's see, from Charlie Kirk and Jerry Falwell. Look, I went on why. I mean, look, I mean, Jerry Kerr was an assassination. Jerry Falwell didn't get assassinated, but I'm still not gonna sanitize him. Whatever. I mean, there's other political figures. I mean, I would not definitely sanitize Henry Kissinger or any controversial well autocrats. With the legacy about why people want to remember you best. Got to think about that. So, I start with you, Jason. I mean, you don't seem like a
I,
bad person. And people's going, well, someone's going to sanitize you about what your actions, what your comments.
I mean, I'm not even that relevant, but I mean, I was trying, as you were mentioning, um, I definitely, when you look at celebrities or politicians or prominent people, there's definitely a performative kindness, right? Like when uh, uh, Alexandria Cortez goes to Texas to pass out water bottles. Of course, photographers are there, but she's genuine, and her career isn't going to get far without photo ops. So that's just the nature of the beast. I think you can kind of compare. It's somebody being kind on camera. Like David Letterman used to love to criticize Jay Leno, and he'd be like, "How come whenever there's a car broken down on the side of the road, and Jay Leno's there trying to take a look at the engine to be helpful. How come there's always paparazzi? Like, okay, yeah, because it's performative. Um, I saw recently that Bon Jovi has a restaurant where you can eat for free. If you're a homeless person, you can just go in and order a meal, and I think
Jason. Okay.
you can pay by working in the kitchen and stuff. And he doesn't, that entered the news just because he doesn't try to hide it, but he doesn't try to be known for it. So I think that's genuine. You can be rich and you can still be kind and you can be genuine. Um, but I mean, I'm not worried so much about a legacy, but at certain times in my life, based on the position I've held, like group home supervisor, kindergarten teacher, I have been aware of my role model status. And it doesn't change my core values of kindness, being helpful, but I'm extra careful not to set bad examples. So I guess that's performative in a way. I would warn my son as he was, leaving the tween years and entering teenage years. I'm like, if we go to the park, if we go to the grocery store, don't use bad words because inevitably some of my students are hanging around. Uh, but I think when you're a genuine kind person, you don't really need to walk around too concerned about your legacy. I mean, I'm here now. I'll be, whether I have grandkids or not, I'll still be forgotten within a generation. So I'm not too worried about legacy. I mean, I'm
You wrote a
super
book
happy
about
that
it so far.
our
Not
podcast will still exist. I mean, that's cool stuff on the internet. Even if we delete everything, lasts a long time. And I think if you picked up our videos from a time capsule, be like, oh, there's some well-intentioned cut three dudes. Yeah, they're probably wrong about some stuff. They were right about a lot, but their hearts were in the right places. So I do enjoy kind of living as a kind person. And when I witness somebody being unkind, I try to take a look at their motivation. Um, yeah, I don't know. Do you put a lot of thought into your legacy, Byron?
look, not so much. Look, I'm 23 years old. So look, maybe if I was dying or so I feel like I'm gonna get killed, maybe I will wrote like maybe I wrote or type some multiple pages like what's so far what people want to know positive things about me. I think, like yes, but like maybe it's like a mini book, whatever, so far, or possibly a book to write positive things about myself if I was like dying or if I'm gonna get assassinated, something like that. Yeah, yeah. And
I
yes,
do.
yes.
Something that's kind of was kind of sad for me. I had such great relationships with my kindergartners, and they're always telling me they love me. If I could rewind the clock, I would stay a kindergarten teacher. I tried to pull off big dreams in Oregon, and they crashed and burned. But a kindergarten teacher was probably the most fulfilled I've ever been as far as having a job. Um, but then it hit me like these kids aren't going to remember any of this, and that's kind of depressing thought. And it's also kind of sad when I mentioned to my son, like, oh, yeah, do you remember when we went to SeaWorld? And hey, there was a couple trips to SeaWorld before we knew the whales were depressed, but that Blackfish documentary hadn't come out yet. But he doesn't remember stuff. And I've told him, son, if something happens to me, the portable hard drive in the closet has all the pictures. Like you need to go and pull it and make sure you keep it because that's going to jog your memory. Like all the nice things I did for you. No, just all the special moments that otherwise would be lost. So as far as legacy, it's true what they say. They won't remember what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel. Uh, but that's the only legacy that's important to me. Like what my students, the experience of my students, the experience of my son and nephew. And as you're talking about legacy, like yeah, it is kind of sad that that fades in time, especially when it comes to your young children or your young students. But at least in the case of my son, I'm like, there's evidence you once loved me and it's in the closet. So if I die in a car accident, make sure that portable hard drive gets some attention.
I mean, Well, look, on legacy, you mentioned about so these public figure stuff or whatever on that. Someone like, I mentioned someone's either a good person or a bad person already. I mean, sure, there's like, well, celebrities who are famous after they die, posthumously. Yeah, after they die. There's also that. And there's also celebrities, well, we don't know if they actually done it or not, with a controversial issues. Well, I mean, well, there's one well accused of doing something bad. I mean, you have, let's say, Michael Jackson and Joe Jackson on that.
Mm.
We don't know that, yeah, we don't know about Michael Jackson molest children or not. We don't know if this is true or not. And well,
And Cesar Chavez, yeah, I mean, when somebody's dead, if they were prominent, more information comes out, and of course they can't defend themselves, but you can look at a lot of it objectively. And were they good? Were they bad? Like, yeah, I don't want to die, and then my family. I don't think there's anything they would unearth that they don't already know that would suddenly swing their opinion one way or the other. I don't
yeah.
know. Arlen, do you have
Well, yeah, it's still one more things to say. Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah, go for
about
it.
Michael Jackson there, or well, well, legacy is a well, look, well, there's a couple of things to say. Legacy. Well, let's just say so a child of a celebrity who was well accused of being abused by a parent. Let's say Joan Crawford. Yeah, well, yeah, the adopted daughter, Cindy Crawford, was accused of his mother abused her when she was a child there. I mean, the movie about it was so bad it's good with Faye Dunaway played Joan Crawford called Mommy Dearest. I want to say no more wire hangers or over the top acting and dialogue. And well, legacy. I mean, there's celebrities like over like they're in 100 years old. I mean, there's just recently the Mel Brooks just turned 100 years old. Mel Brooks. And Dick Van Dyke is 103 years old. He's still alive to this day. He also endorsed Bernie Sanders twice. He's still alive, 103 years old. And legacy. This is nothing about like a fictional character in pop culture. They will just still be there. It's a fictional character. It's they're no, they even care whether they aged or not. It's this yeah. Yeah, okay, Arlen. We hear about the topic about legacy and what people want to best remember you or not.
I don't want a legacy, to be honest.
Yeah.
I personally actually want
Just
to be set off to the world without an actual legacy. That way, people don't remember me positively or negatively, so I can go peacefully.
Well,
But
look, that's those things about legacy, wisdom, and what was the other one I talk about? Inspiration. I mean, it's because you are more experienced. I mean, I'm the youngest one, so that's why I ask these questions there. I mean,
yes, for sure.
yeah, I mean, all these political figures, Bernie Sanders and Jimmy Carter, yeah, the legacy there, a very long legacy. Oh, yes, still a good legacy there. Yeah, whether they remember you or not, whether from failure, so what you do after that, something like that. Well, Bernie Sanders not a failure. He just got rigged against twice in his national election there.
Mm.
Yeah, I won't count that as a failure. I mean, this is why I asked about legacy. Well, it's been so, well, looks like it's been about 40 minutes so far. I asked like two
Well,
questions so far. I mean, it's been long so far. Okay, so see, I talk about legacy, inspiration, and wisdom. Look, I'm the youngest one. Should maybe ask these questions there for curiosity.
for sure.
Yeah, for curiosity. Look, I mean, you guys are millennials. I'm a Gen Z. Okay, okay. I gotta think of something else. Think of something else. Look, I know it's about like 20 minutes left. Okay, okay. Um. I don't know if this is a good one or not. Well,
It's all good.
okay, let's
Everything's
just
good.
say if you're in, well, if you got this early or you're in old age, would you worry that if you have cognitive decline, would you worry about that? Like how would you prevent? How would you want things to remember yourself or others to if you have cognitive decline if that happens? So I think
Cognitive
Jason.
decline is very scary because my grandpa started having cognitive decline. I mean, he lived very long at like 102 before he passed away, but he started getting it at like 99. And when you see people with cognitive decline, they do random things. They forget about the people around them. They forget about themselves even. He would like at like 3 o'clock in the morning, he would go down the elevator and start randomly walking around the parks, and we would be like, where the heck did he go? And it just worries us to death. So for me myself, I don't want to ever get that.
So sorry, you, Arlen, there. So worry about that. You don't.
I
It's just
will never want cognitive decline. That's why even now I'm already doing like sometimes I would just do crossword puzzles or or like Sudoku or something just to keep my mind sharp or try to keep my mind sharp so that I don't go down that route. And the one thing I don't care about my own legacy, but I think I care enough about cognitive decline that I don't want to die at in a certain way that everyone around me, like friends and family, remember me by my cognitive decline. That's one thing I do not want.
I mean, look, if you're nearly about that, maybe you should write about a book about that, about your legacy, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, good
if
idea.
you have
Maybe I should
you're
write a
about to
book.
have cognitive decline.
Yeah, I should write a book.
Yeah, I mean it's
It's a good
hereditary.
idea.
It's about one of your grandfather. Was it paternal, maternal? Like he has it like almost 100 years old.
Yeah, he he was
Was
it
it
was
paternal, maternal? Whose grandfather this is?
oh, it's my dad's side.
Okay, paternal grandfather.
Yeah. My mom's side, I mean my mom's side died like a long time ago. Like, I never even met him, so but yeah, my dad's side, and when I see it's so painful just seeing him go through that I never want it on anyone. I don't wish it on anyone. Even my enemies I don't wish it on. It's horrible. It's a horrible disease.
Yeah. There's people got kind of decline when he was young. It's one thing who was cognitive decline, but difficult speaking. It was like Bruce Willis. He's very retired acting. And he's like in his early 70s already. Yeah,
Yeah,
young.
yeah, that's very young. It's for this disease, I mean that's horrible.
Yeah, about this having cognitive decline. There's more things to say, Arlen, about the fear of having cognitive decline. Worry about, on your legacy if they want, things positive about you. Do
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't care if people remember me at all, but except if they do remember me, I don't want them to remember me as this old man that has cognitive decline because that, I don't know, to my heart, that's not how I want to go.
maybe just be look, maybe people have typically had cognitive decline like what, 80s or 90s or whatever. Maybe just do this
Yeah,
like in your 70s, I guess, you write a book about your legacy and positive side of
I
you.
should, yes, I should write a book about it
Your
for sure.
70s, in your old
But
age.
maybe I should write it when I'm 50s in case I get cognitive decline before that.
Early, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. It's about about your fear of having cognitive declines. People's gonna remember you that you have memory, you have difficult memory
Yeah,
problems. So that's
yeah, I don't want people to remember me as this helpless old man that needs people around him to take care of him. That's not how I want to go.
I mean, it will be scary to have early cognitive decline. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, it's scary enough to seeing other people with it, let alone having it yourself.
yeah. Hmm. Okay,
Yeah,
Jason. About talk about fear of cognitive decline. Like people, like you're not
Yeah.
gonna remember yourself when you get old, when you have
that's
dementia. Remember that.
Well,
Yeah, memory
yes,
problem.
I do. Wow. Hey, Byron, that's a great question. I really, uh, wow, shocked in a good way to connect cognitive decline to legacy to kindness. It is profound because when somebody experiences cognitive decline, a common denominator is they get a little mean.
mm,
And because cognitive decline removes some of the social shame screen that
mm.
prevents us from saying inappropriate things. And there's a lot of examples, like George Bush Sr. They had to keep him away from female reporters because he's in his
Oh,
wheelchair and he would just grab a butt.
He has
And
dementia. That guy.
I didn't know he had dementia
I thought there's like
either.
three presidents. I mean,
yeah,
there's
and I
Donald
don't, I mean,
Trump, Joe Biden, and
right,
Ronald
right.
Reagan.
I know, and I don't want to talk about old presidents and cognitive decline because
Well,
there's
current
too
president
much
cognitive
there's
decline.
too much material there. But let's keep it about kindness. Here's the thing.
Okay, connected to kindness,
Um,
cognitive decline, legacy. It seems good related to that.
right, but so like I would want to be, and I joke, but it's true. Like I don't want to ever be a burden on my son. I mean, I already, well, one day he joked like, "Dad, if you die, am I gonna get any money?" I'm like, honestly, son, if I die, you're probably gonna owe money. Like, I'm sorry, but I joke that when I get to that point where I know it's coming, I'm gonna kayak out into Monterey Bay and capsize with the sea otters. Because, but I would hope that I lived my life in such a kind way that if I do experience cognitive decline and I start snapping at my loved ones and I start saying mean things,
Mm,
that they'll kind of write that off as the aging process and won't hold it against me. Because it happened to my grandma. She got and my grandma without
Grandma,
going through her whole
maternal
life. My
grandma.
my maternal grandma had a hard life and struggles and dealings with men and stuff. It's reasons for her nastiness that are forgive and her alcoholism. Reasons for it, but it is always very sweet to me. Uh, but in her cognitive decline, she got very mean. She would just say like despicable things to my mom, but my mom didn't hold it against her. It did affect her though. And then sadly, they did have to, my parents did have to put my grandma in an assisted living place, which they tried to keep her in her house as long as possible, but eventually she ended up in a very nice assisted living. But then she died during the peak COVID years. And she didn't die because of COVID. That was unrelated. However, my mom carries a lot of guilt because my grandma died thinking she was abandoned. Because what during the height of COVID, the first thing that happened was the assisted living place closed down visits. And my grandma wasn't with it enough to be like, okay, people aren't visiting me because of the global pandemic. She was just like, where the fuck did everybody go? My mom carries a lot of guilt, thinking that her mom died, feeling she was abandoned. But back to kindness. Watching that, sometimes my grandma would be like, "Hey, go get your grandpa and tell him it's time to eat." And be like, "Well, no, he's been dead for 25 years." Like the cognitive decline comes and goes, but it manifested in her in some very like mean comments and a sharp tongue and saying mean things. And there wasn't really enough history of kindness to override that. Like when you think about my grandma, it'd be like, yeah, she's a mean lady. No, nobody's celebrating that she's not here anymore, but it's kind of a shame that the legacy isn't more and I don't even want to say flowery, but uh, I would just hope that I lived my life with enough kindness and doing enough nice things that if I become crotchety and mean, like I said, it'll be forgivable. Um, and there'll be enough people who love me around and be like, man, it's sad to see what's happening to Jason because that's not his personality. That's his brain going dim because he's at the end.
that's a good point.
Imagine this happens immediately when there was an elderly person just acting normal, later got cognitive decline. It was like that scene in the Notebook movie. Yeah, it was like the grandmother character who was the main female couple. She was acting
Yeah,
normal previously before. Later, she just got cognitive decline. Like it came out of nowhere. Imagine that happens in reality if you experience that.
well, it does. And we've all got microplastics in our brain, and yeah,
Mm,
hey, the added, hey, Abaya, you want wisdom? Here it is. Uh, be careful who you step on the way up because you're going to see them on the way down. People
mm,
take that to mean like your career. People are career based. Like if you get a promotion, that's five people who didn't. And you might want to gloat, and you might want to walk around with a chip on your shoulder, but they might get the next better promotion. Like you never know. And like if you're just a nice person, this doesn't like you can be. It's harder to be a humble winner than a humble loser. Uh, but it's true for family too. Like, you're young, you're healthy, you might be able to dunk on some of your other family members, but something might happen to you.
But but if it's fear-based, isn't it more politeness than kindness?
Yeah, again, it's getting to the are you, are you being nice because you're nice, or are you being nice as an insurance policy? Uh, I mean, hey, that's fair. Somebody could ask me, like, Jason, are you really a nice guy? Or do you just have nothing to offer the world but a smile and some platitudes? I don't know. I don't know. I've never been tested with $1 billion in the bank. From
Yeah.
my vantage point now, I think I would try to start solving problems, but I can't. You just have to believe me. It's like me just asking to be believed because I don't have proof. I can
Yeah.
say in my early social work jobs, I was going broke, spending my own money on kids and again, that's not even the right way to help people, but I hadn't really learned that yet. So if I was working with a kid and they told me I was hungry, I'm like, all right, I'll fucking take you to Burger King. But, you know, so I think there's been times where I put my money where my mouth is.
Don't
But,
worry, I believe you. I believe you
okay.
because you've helped because you took a very labor intensive job and helped hoarders and animals. So yeah, I believe you.
Yeah. And although that, the most recent job was short lived, my whole career has been an extremely low paid,
Mm,
high stress, trying to pull people out of their pits of despair. And I can't imagine doing, like, I wish it paid better.
mm,
And I'm frustrated that, as hard as I'm not bitter, but I am frustrated that, as hard as I've worked on behalf of the state, and Arizona's children, that, nobody took care of me while I was trying to take care of the disenfranchised population. But I wouldn't change anything. Like, I love that a lot of the group home youth I worked with, they just passed through. I was just staff, whatever. I was one staff of many staff, and they've been passed around their whole lives. But I did connect with quite a few kids, and they reach out to me. They're adults now. And I love it that they reach out and want to connect and tell me what they've got going on. Like that's special. And, I can look back and feel like, yeah, I did a lot of good. I can't sit down with my dad when I'm not going to be able to pay rent. I can pay rent next month. I can't pay rent the next month. So I can't sit down with my dad and be like, hey, Dad, I need $1,000, but think of all the good I've done. Like, no. But yeah, I mean, it's a good question. Let me pass it back to you guys. Like, how do you know you're actually kind and not just being polite because there's social repercussions for not being polite? How can somebody watching this self-assess if they're as kind as possible?
mm. Look at my voting record. That's one way. No, I'm not gonna like share it on screen, but
Well, well, look, as you know me so far, I've been in the Blues Sky for like what, nearly 2 years, whatever. I mean, you can look at the records on my comments so far, or I mean, I've been
yes,
to like 3 different U.S. states, and like I've been to like 11 different schools. I mean, just in the recent years of my school life, however, the people I interact, I think they will remember me best. That I did ask about my past previously to them before. I was just a messed up person. They interact how I was a good person. And all the yeah, I mentioned about the comments you can see in Blue Sky there. I mean, that's so far I could say about the legacy of mine, whatever. In my recent years, as how I grown this so far. Yeah,
yeah, I do have. Yeah, you do have a long trail record on Blue Sky. That's true.
yeah,
So, and it is a good resource to show that you have a lot of kindness in you.
yeah.
Yeah, you can be proud of your record. Like I delete my post history every so often, and some of that, I think, yeah, I, good and bad. Of the three of us, I post the most like, look at me, give me attention, kind of irrelevant bullshit. Like I do. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me or why I have the compulsion to do that. But some of it's good because some of that we can cash out into, podcast viewers or whatever. But yeah, you guys have consistently like sometimes I'll just like go through a wave of just like reading your guys' conversations between each other that it started on a Bernie Sanders post and I'm like, "God, dude, you guys are my role models. Like, you guys are some thoughtful young men that are like not even like you're working for free, but you're just like bringing thoughts and ideas to the population and really just doing it for the love of the game and a combined interest in making life better for as many people as possible. I mean, Arlen's got like one picture of a delicious pizza he made 2 years ago.
I get so lazy I don't post. I'm sorry.
And like later today, I'll be like, fuck, I just made a bomb quesadilla. I'm gonna force the world to look at it. And then like Byron too, you're just always like, saying something nice about people. And I really admire that about you two kind fellas.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, yes. I already mentioned like anyone with negative opinions. I mean, someone's like the owner of the CEO or CEO of a company. I already mentioned that it can relate politically. That can relate to that politically, and also something about legacy too. I mean, I mean, it's just say, well, someone bad, as we know so far. Let's say Harvey Weinstein, whatever, or the Weinstein Company, Dimension Films, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, Miramax. Yes. I mean, yes, this is he's a CEO of that. He's a producer, and he's also related to kindness. He's an absolutely horrible person. He's like one of the worst Americans in history, along with Jeffrey Epstein, who they actually met each other. You can see a picture of
Oh
that along
God,
with
that's sick.
Ghislaine Maxwell, Harvey Weinstein there. Well, it's like one controversial CEO, whatever. We don't know if this, well, all these they say he might be a white supremacist, whatever. And it's Walt Disney, the CEO of Walt Disney Company from the mid 1920s to the mid 1960s. Like I don't know every single CEO of this Walt Disney Company. I know Walt Disney. I know his older brother, Roy Disney, after he dies. It was CEO of the late 1960s. I know the current CEO of Disney. So, was I forgot I forgot like the one before. Well, Bob Iger is still the CEO of Disney since the mid 2000s. I forgot what was before that. I forgot his name. I was like
Michael
yeah,
Eisen
Michael
something.
Eisner. Yeah, he was the
Yeah,
CEO of
Eisner.
Disney like in the mid 1980s to early 2000. But before that, he's also CEO of Paramount from the late 1970s to early 1980s. All these CEO stuff owning companies like the Walt Disney example. Well, because he has all these Walt Disney, he was like, he has sympathy for Nazism, whatever, all that. We don't know if this is true or not. I mean,
Yeah, well,
it's
I mean, I
basically
don't want
kindness
again
politically,
the
how we see his
Nazis
legacy be
experimenting
remembered.
on Jews created a lot of like look at how like where Tylenol came how there's dark histories in a lot of modern companies. I know you're going to call time in a minute, so I just want to toss out there, because you're talking about CEOs and companies, charitable giving from companies growing up. I won't mention my dad's main company he worked for by name, but like I know he'd wake me and my brother up on the weekends, be like, "Get up,
You
we
still
got to
keep
go plant."
talking. It's 12 p.m., still keep talking. I have like one more thing to say after that. Okay, Jason, keep
Yeah,
talking.
but no, like in the old days, it was in this kind of I don't know why it disappeared. I know like sometimes companies will give a financial gift, which when a lot of companies lean on their employees to donate from their own paychecks, and then the company takes credit for the financial gifts. But my dad would wake up me and my brother because organized through his company, we'd have to go clean up a wash, we'd have to go plant trees, we'd have to go do a bunch of stuff to reinvigorate the community. And when you're a kid and you want to sleep in, you're like, oh man. But looking back on it, like that was nice. Like, and I did work on one team doing my social work where every team lead had a budget to do something nice for their team for Christmas. And a lot of teams that amounted to the traditional pizza party bullshit or everybody gets a Starbucks gift card. But my team lead proposed, and he let us vote on it. He didn't force it on us. He proposed we all volunteer our time somewhere. And when you work in social work, sometimes you feel like, well, my whole life revolves around doing good work. Well, I got to do more good work. But it was nice. My team volunteered to do a food bank day, and that was I'd never worked for a food bank, and I'm also just generally incompetent in a lot of things. So they took me off of packaging up food boxes and they had me just accepting donations. And I was better suited at that. And of course, who do you think donates the most food? Other poor people. As soon as somebody has enough or a little bit of a surplus, they try to donate. But I stood there and I accepted the donation boxes from whatever the community brought in. And I went and I handed it off to the sorters, but I thought that was nice. If I have to pick a company to work for, I would like there to be genuine charitable giving. And you mentioned all those slime ball CEOs, and of course that trickles down because slime ball middle management thinks they can become slime ball executives someday, and then it's a competition on who can be the slimiest. Because yeah, when you give away you lose something. Uh, when you compete, you keep and you hoard. But I do like it when companies have charitable giving, and I think in our society should be made up of companies that profit just enough to take care of their employees and not create obscene wealth for like one or two people. So yeah,
Except that's
charitable
not
giving.
gonna happen. Unfortunately, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was thinking I have two things to say. I mean, okay, this is a brief question. Well, how would you like to be buried? Would you like to be buried on the grave or be cremated? Like, I don't know, spread your ashes anywhere or whatever, or be preserved. So it's Jason.
uh,
So Jason,
No, let's hear from Arlen first.
you
I
want to
don't
be
want to hear
buried or
myself.
you want to be cremated?
no cremation, just throw my ashes everywhere. Give to the world. They can use my ashes for nutrients.
I, I mean, I think your decomposing corpse would be more nutritious to the earth than your
I
ashes.
mean,
Yes, decompose. Just let me decompose
Yeah.
naturally.
Well, actually, don't they make like a kind of like a mossy bag you can like body bag and you they can bury yourself in a way where you break down and you're more valuable. Byron,
I'll have to take
are
a
you
look.
feeling your mortality today?
bro, I just asking that. You're a year older than me. I'm young. I'm curious. Okay, I just want to hear
None
about
of us are on. I mean,
your thoughts on
insofar as any one of us could be hit by a car this afternoon, like none of us are on the verge of dying. But um, just let's see, real quick. I do need to say our good friend Chris is now cancer free. We talked about his GoFundMe in the food episode, and we didn't mention it last week, but between then and now, he's had his prostate removed and some lymph nodes removed. And I'm not sharing anything private. He said I'm trying carefully just to say things he said publicly. Um, but it wouldn't be the United States if there weren't a healthcare twist to this. So the time he needed to take off work because of his cancer surgery has outweighed the amount of PTO and FMLA and all that bullshit. And, his health insurance is having problems. So he does still need money. Uh, I'll put the link to the GoFundMe in the video again. So yeah, good news. Our good friend is cancer free and he's got a months long recovery ahead of him. But he can't just focus on his recovery because he's got to figure out how to pay some bills. So if there's anybody out there who can give even just a little amount, if everybody gave just a little amount, it would go a long way. That's all. I just want to make sure I said that.
I
Good
could go
news,
on an
cancer.
hour-long rant about this, but I won't.
Yeah, no, we all get it. Yeah, he shouldn't. It sucks that. I mean, when I was a security guard, I saw the lady running in and out of Whole Foods doing Amazon Flex with her stomach outside of her body, like she was working to pay for like her stomach surgeries.
This is
No,
some stage capitalism crap. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, look, these topics talk about legacy, the dementia, was any other questions? I mean, this is like the episodes you will see all these sensitive topics you see like in the animated series, like a chilled animated series, like important serious issues, and even sitcoms there. And even, of course, let's just say Sesame Street, like one of the casts died or whatever. I can't remember what it was. It was like the Sesame Street's been there since in the 1970s, whatever. I forget. It was like one of the casts just died or all these sensitive, serious issues there. Yeah.
Sesame Street's so old. I went to Sesame Street on ice. It was
Yeah.
lit. Um, August 2nd, I'm speaking to the netizens. I don't know
Okay.
if you guys, hey, back in my day, Byron, this will blow your mind. Like you'd be asked, hey, are you online? Because not everybody was. That basically meant you have an AOL screen name or an ICQ screen name. But speaking to the netizens out there, August 2nd, we do have a guest scheduled. That's exciting. Our
Okay.
first guest. Yeah, so you'd be remiss not to write down August 2nd as the first day there will be a guest on the Spectacular Misfits.
August 2nd. Wait, August 2nd. Wonder what day this is. What is that? August 2nd. This is on
I'm
Thursday.
guessing it's a Sunday since that's when our Zoom is
Oh,
scheduled
August
to
2nd, you
repeat.
said?
August 2nd.
Oh, I thought it was like a July or something next week. I forgot about that. Okay.
No, no, hey, our guest is so prominent, we had to schedule them that far in advance.
Okay.
Might blow people's minds.
Okay. Well, just say stop. I mean, I hope this episode, like these important topic, that it is these sensitive, important issues there. So I remember what I was talking about, the dementia, legacy. What was the other one? Remember the other questions were?
Yeah, I remember all your questions. You did an awesome job, Byron. You
Yeah.
did a fantastic job as host.
What were the rest of them? I think it was four of them. I said it's legacy, dementia,
Inspiration.
Yeah,
inspiration, all these kind of stuff. One more. Oh, one more. What was the other one?
Well, you're speaking to people who have just watched the video, so we
Okay,
don't have to
then.
rehash the whole thing. But land the plane, Byron. Say something inspiring to hold everybody over a week.
Well, look, I think I said it before. Well, these are important, sensitive topics. So I hope this is something that's that resonate with this episode there. So end. Yeah.
Oh, are you telling me to press the end button?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Sometimes I'm not as smart as you guys. You gotta be like Jason N. All
Okay.
right. Thank you guys. See you next
see ya.
time.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.